Hello, soul family. I love you all. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. My name is Jeremiah, and you're tuning into Secrets of the Sacred Serpent, where we discuss all things spirituality and the occult. Today, we are going to discuss the importance of preparation and immersion whenever you're practicing magic and working with spirits or deities or just practicing any sort of magic. So when you're going into doing any sort of magical working or magical practice, you want to make sure that that you understand that just as important as the ritual itself is, ever much so is important preparation for the ritual and the immersion into the ritual. So look at it this way. Whenever you're going, let's say, for example, you're working with a spirit or a deity, you don't want to just, go look up on Google, oh, which deity will do this for me or something, and then just go do a ritual for this person, light a candle, be like, oh, hey, yo, deity, do this for me, and then expect it to just manifest in your life. You really need to study, become to know the deity, really research as much as you can, get as much knowledge as you can about the deity or spirit, learn all of its correspondences, because you may miss a lot of communications coming from the deity if you don't know things that are related to the deity or spirit. And it may be communicating with you synchronistically or through other people or just many different ways where a animal or plant or symbol or image of the being appears in your life, and you completely miss the sign that you're supposed to be paying attention to that area because you didn't study the correspondences of the spirit and you didn't even know exactly all the things about it. Another very, very important part to understand is that when you're practicing magic, and anytime you're doing any sort of spirit evocation or invocation, or you're working with any spirit in order to enact change in the world, all of us need to definitely understand that you have to get yourself into an altered state of consciousness in order for you to reach in and affect and put information and reprogram the subconscious mind. Speak many times about the subconscious mind is a symbol-based operating system, and you're going to affect it with symbols, repetition, and trauma. But in order to put those algorithms or codes into the subconscious mind, the symbols or that repetition or the trauma, you need to allow yourself to become immersed within the ritual. When you're doing the ritual, you don't want to be having your mind all over the place thinking about John and Sally and your job, and you owe this bill, and oh my gosh, I forgot to take the trash out, and what am I going to do tomorrow? Literally, all that stuff should be out of your mind. And the way that you clear your mind of that stuff is immersion. And you need to be, if you're going to do a ritual working with a spirit or something like that, you don't want to just go into it all willy-nilly and, like I said, go in and just light a candle, have a sigil out, say a chant a couple of times, and expect that to really get embedded into your subconscious. You need to be allowing yourself to get into an altered state of consciousness. That's why we have all these mantras, chants, demonic ends that we use for invocation and evocation to kind of rattle ourselves into a trance-like state, because that repetition of chanting it over and over gets you into an altered state of consciousness. And when you're scrying into the sigil and then scrying into the flame and scrying into a scrying mirror, you're allowing your mind to at least settle into an alpha state. And one easy way that you can get your brain to switch into an alpha state is 20 to 30 minutes of scrying into a lit candle. So turn out all the lights in the room and just be doing the ritual with your candles lit and scry into the candle flame, and meditate. So have an image, and let the image, if you're working with a spirit, be a corresponding aspect of the spirit, and visualize that as you're scrying into this, kind of with your mind's eye overlaying the etheric blueprint kind of over the flame or within the flame, and you literally just scry into that, doing your open-eyed visualization and allowing yourself to slip into this altered state of consciousness. And when you do this, you're definitely going to notice there's different types of things, and I'm just going to name a few things that I definitely notice whenever I slip into an altered state of consciousness, and I know that I'm hitting an alpha state or something. When I get into this state, I usually start to hear my ears ringing, and I'll feel kind of a electric energy in the air. And it's almost like when you're sitting there and you're starting about to nod off or whatever, like there's almost like this bouncing kind of energy or something when as you're nodding off, and not like your head bouncing, but like things bouncing. I don't know how to explain it. But now I've practiced magic so much that even after preparation, and I know the spirit and I've got all the implements and stuff like that, when I go to start my immersion begins with taking the piece of paper out and drawing the sigil, and I'll go over the lines of the drawing a couple of different times. And as I'm just going over the sigil, I kind of rattle myself into a trance with that, and immediately, almost every time, I'll have one or both of my ears start to ring and my head kind of starts to buzz, and I know immediately right there that I'm already slipping into an alpha state. And that's why I'll sit and draw over it over and over and kind of get myself into the flow state. Then you move from, I'll move from that already noticing a difference in my consciousness, and then I will begin the ritual. And at that point, I'll be doing scrying into the flame to just allow myself to get immersed deeper. I'll be doing my mantras or chants within my mind's eye or out loud sometimes. I'll have the sigil out, or whatever symbol or idol or stuff thing or whatever is the symbol of the entity. I'll be, focusing on that as well after I've done my fire scrying. And a lot of times I will notice that I rock. And, it don't happen every single time, but most of the times it does, where I will find myself rocking as I'm getting into this, like, trance-like state. And you'll see, like, Jewish people do this a lot when they're reading the Torah, or when they're, like, praying at the Wailing Wall or whatever. They'll rock back and forth and be in a very trance-like state. I believe I've seen Muslims do this too, like when they're praying, get to where they start rocking. And you also see people rocking when they're working with their kundalini at times. But all these different little bitty things, like the preparation and the going over the sigil or symbol or whatever, creating the symbol. If you're creating a sigil, you're not working with the spirit, you're just working with your own energies and like your Agatha daemon or your higher self. And creating that symbol, the creation act of creating it, and all of that building up to the ritual is techniques for immersion. Breath is very important, so make sure that you're breathing deeply and you're not just having these really shallow chest breaths, because when you're breathing deeply, you're getting more oxygen to the brain and allowing it to just function better, so that when you're entering these altered states of consciousness, you don't get snapped out of it really easily and get jumped back into a beta state when you're all the way in like theta or something, or gamma or delta. So some of these, like, really probably not delta, but theta or gamma or something, when you're like completely almost like out of body experience sometimes, complete astral experience from your waking life. Trying to think what else. Smells, of course, the incense. Make sure that you have a smell that is connected to the spirit, or something that you truly enjoy that gets you into that altered state of consciousness. And I love white copal resin and dragon's blood, but white copal is one of my favorites. And when I smell that smell, that also kind of triggers the subconscious mind. That's a symbol that triggers it and says, oh shit, it's time to do that work. And all these little things that you're doing, mantras or sounds, smells, sights for the symbols and the scrying and the fire, um, hearing where you start to hear ear ringing, or you may even hear voices if you're having a strong manifestation, or it may be just your inner voice that you hear, like psychically, like your inner ear. But make sure that you're taking time for your rituals. Don't jump into it and think that you can just willy-nilly manifest your dream life by doing a couple really quick rituals that you're not getting immersed in. Because if you're not having that altered state of consciousness, yeah, maybe the symbol might sink in a little bit. Maybe the repetition might sink in a little bit. Maybe when you prick your finger and get a little blood, or even if you don't do that, if you feel some sort of emotional spike, make something that gets you that emotional spike, either be a happy emotion or a negative emotion. Um, but make sure that you're getting fully immersed in these rituals. I mean, do it like you mean it to work. And don't go into it focusing too hard on making it perfect. What you need to focus on is just being relaxed and just kind of getting in the groove and just doing it. And um, that's one thing that I absolutely love about the left-hand path, because it is about creating, making your own rituals, not following structured guidelines that are programmed for you to believe that you have to follow it to the T, or you have to have this planetary alignment, or you have to have this colored candle, or you have to have your tools or implements. Like, there's so many limiting belief systems that are even within the occult community. But just get into it, create your own ritual structure. I'm going to make another video about creating your own rituals and the power behind that, instead of going and looking up spells from other people. But yeah, that's probably it for the video. Just make sure you become fully immersed and you prepare heavily before the ritual. And if this spiritual path is important to you, transformation is important to you, and there's something about your life that you want to change for the better, then do it like you mean it. Like I said, you go out and do all these other things in the world and feed it all your time and energy. And the eighth hermetic principle, the generative principle, states very clearly that where your attention goes, energy flows. So if you're putting all your attention out in the world, watching TV, listening to music, going to places, shopping, eating, all this stuff that's physical, but then you neglect your spirituality and you're doing this little half-assed rituals and not actually really doing it like you mean it, and fully putting your energy and your intent and your will into one directed area and focusing that energy and intent until it manifests, then you're not doing it right. You need to make your spiritual path a priority, make your magic a priority. And the number one most important thing that you could do to help you to get into these altered states of consciousness, prior to the ritual, is you need to be meditating every single day. Build those new neural pathways. Train your mind and tame your mind, because once you master your mind, you will master this realm. You will be like Neo in the Matrix, 100%. So make sure you're doing the immersion. And also another thing, some people think that they can do a ritual one time, feed it a little energy, and then it's just going to manifest for them. And, you know, it's important that when you do a ritual, that you do it, set it, and forget it, and allow it to manifest. But if you are noticing that this is something that you need in your life, and you do a ritual, and you really immerse yourself and put yourself into it, and it's still not manifesting, and it's something that you need to manifest, like you need it to happen, do the ritual multiple times. Ritual is something that you do over and over again. That's like the definition of a ritual. So do it multiple times, but give yourself time to forget about it for a minute. Do a ritual 1 week, and if you're needing to manifest something within a month, let yourself forget about it for the week. Just get immersed in other parts of your path, and let it kind of be in the back of your mind that you even did the ritual. Give it the ability to manifest. But if you don't notice the change and the time period starts to come up and it makes you think of it, you've already put that energy into, oh, it hasn't manifested yet, so put more energy back into it with doing the ritual again. That's about it though. I just want to let you guys just have my thoughts on the importance of preparation and immersion into the rituals, and not doing these real quick, fast, haphazard rituals, and not really putting your energy where it needs to be and putting all your focus where it needs to be when you're doing your rituals. But I think that's probably about it for this video. I love you all. I hope everyone has a wonderful day today. Comment in the comment section down below if you have something to add to this, or if you have a question, leave it down there as well. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Sorry, that my neighbor slammed something on the door super hard. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be making tons more videos on spirituality and the occult, how to master your mind, master yourself, and step into your true God self. Peace.